Welcome to Bite Size Brands, where brands are refined, elevated, and transformed into something unforgettable. This podcast is your space to learn how to build a brand that reflects your vision, create emotional connection with your audience, position yourself as premium in your industry. With short, powerful episodes and inspiring guest features, you will gain the clarity and confidence to step into your next level. And I'm your host, Kusha Kalra, founder of the Bespoke Designs. Today, we are going to be talking about how your higher self can help you grow your business. We've got an amazing guest whose name is Sunayana Clark. So, Sunayana, thank you so much for joining us today. This is so exciting that, we are, first of all, connecting after a long time. And I'm so happy and so glad that you could make it. Before we go ahead and jump in to talk about the topic for today, why don't you share a little bit more about yourself for our audience, please?
Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for having me on here. So, my background actually is in holistic therapies. I started off as a reflexologist, then became a Reiki master teacher, was a free mind hypnotherapist and a Bowen technique practitioner as well. And I worked with a huge range of clients this is my 30th year of being in the health and wellbeing industry. And in that time, I've worked with huge numbers of people. And I really liked working with people with complex cases. So I work with people with infertility, motor neurone disease, Parkinson's, cancers, also things like anxiety, depression, exam stress. I worked a huge variety. And one of the things I noticed in that work was how anxiety threads through everything. And that if we resolve the anxiety, a lot of our physical symptoms start to dissipate. And so
Right.
up until COVID, I was working mainly with trauma-based anxiety. And then in COVID, I decided to really hone in on energetics. So when I learned Reiki, it was like my brain exploded with the amount of energy that was around. And I've always been really interested and quite obsessive in my thoughts around energetics. I always wanted to know more. I wanted to understand more. So in COVID, I joined a mentorship where I was being mentored. I connected consciously to my higher self. And from there, I pivoted after the pandemic into focusing just on energetics. And
Mhm.
so, and my belief is if you sort out the energetics, then the physical reality you live can be filled with good stuff, with laughter, love, ease, abundance, etc. So yeah, that's a bit about
Right.
me.
I think that's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing because I feel you bring a vast amount of experience with you. And I feel apart from the experience, there is wisdom also that is reflecting. And then when you talk about all the skills that you've learned through this journey, I'm sure it's something which is able to help your clients as well. So I'm going to jump in straight away into the questions that I have here. So, for someone who is hearing this term higher self for the first time, how do you think you would like to explain it in simple words? And how did your own journey into this work begin?
So your higher self, if you like, is the most purest version of you. At its core, that's what it is. And at the weekend, I was presenting at a retreat and I described it as imagine before you came to earth, there was you, your soul, and there was your higher self almost standing next to you, right? And when you were born and became a physical human, there was this energetic thread, like a rope, that connected you to your higher self. And that thread is never broken. And so when we transition and go back to non physical when we die, we get reconnected to our higher self almost in person, but on an energetic level.
Right.
And so your higher self only sees you as being brilliant, as being amazing, as being someone who has undertaken a life on this planet, which can be very challenging, as someone who's ready for growth and who wants to learn about how to be their best version. And so that's how I would describe your higher self to you. And I love higher selves. They are just amazing. My own journey with my higher self, her name is Athalia. She I had not realized when I was practicing Reiki and I was giving Reiki treatments, I would get a lot of information. I would know a lot of stuff. And she would sometimes say to me, "Move your hands." I would hear a voice basically saying, "Move your hands a little bit" during a treatment. And clients would say to me, "How did you know that?" And I was like, "I don't know some of the stuff I say to you. I say it and then go, where did that come from?" And it was essentially her. But I hadn't connected consciously to her. And it was in the pandemic that I consciously began to choose. And the reason it's a conscious connection is because we have free will. So we have to choose to make that connection. They're always there helping. You know, when you have nudges or you have a premonition or a feeling like, oh, I really should go here or I really should do this, that can be your higher self. But if you want to work with them in a very conscious way, you have to ask for that connection because you have free will.
That is unbelievable. And just like how you say it, I still know that I remember I've spoken about this, I think with you or somebody else, and I know that there is like each one of us has our own higher self.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just like you mentioned, there is a name which you can give, and then
Hmm.
you can talk to them, you can kind of take advice from them, you can kind of get those signals from them. Now, many people tend to separate business and spirituality because now this all is something related to spirituality, I feel. How has connecting your higher self changed the way you make decisions and sort of run your business? Do you think it's impacted in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a spiritual life and energetics coach, so if it didn't, it would be a bit odd. But I mean, really, what it's done is so one of the things I do on a really regular basis, I wouldn't say daily, but definitely regularly, is if I have decisions to make in my business, if I need to decide, I've got a list of jobs to do, how am I going to do the jobs? What's the best way to get them done? I will always go inwards first. Whereas historically, I might have just made a list and worked through my list, right? So
Mm.
there's my list. I have to do these jobs. Whereas now, when I go inwards and I go, okay, this is my list of jobs I have to do. Where should I start? And often I find one, I'm more productive and I get more done. But two, if I follow the nudge on what to do first, what I find happens is that each job feeds into the next one. And so I tend to either get a better outcome than I imagined, or I'm more productive, as I said, or I get better understanding and I might go, okay, actually, this is not the right time to do this job. I need some more information. And so I either go and get that information or wait for it to come through. So that's on a really simple day to day level of how working with my higher self has helped. And then on a longer term, running your own business is hard. It doesn't matter whether you're in a spiritual realm or else in a different industry. It's hard. And one of the things having a higher self is because your higher self is an unrelentingly positive cheerleader, what happens is that you have someone to talk to who is going to listen sympathetically, is going to give you advice if you ask for it, it's going to give you a new direction, maybe an inspiration, maybe an idea that excites you and gets you going again. And that to me personally is indispensable. Like I find that really, really important.
Mhm.
Then the other way I think it's really impacted is the understanding that our lives actually are not made up of set areas. They're all intertwined. Your spirituality is intertwined with your family, your business. Your business is intertwined with your spirituality and your family. And equally, your family is intertwined with your spirituality and your business. And when you understand that, then you're kind of like, well, okay, if I'm going to approach one thing this way, why would I not start incorporating it in other areas? Because we don't want to just feel ease and abundance at work. We want to have ease of communication with our family. We want to have loving interactions with them. We want to have a loving relationship with your spirituality, whether it's a formal religious thing or if it's a more spiritual, esoteric relationship you have with God, doesn't really matter. You want that to be a good relationship. And then with
Mm.
your clients and the services you want them, Clients, you want to have the best clients who want to love working with you, and equally you love working with them. But also you want your services to really make a difference. And I don't mean on a world stage. I mean, just in the daily interactions you have with your clients, you want them to be like, wow, this is amazing. This person is really helping me move forward. And in the process, of course, you as the business owner will move forward as well. So for
Wow.
me, they're all very intertwined. They're not separate at all.
Yeah, that's quite insightful, and the way you've put it, it's very beautiful where you say that they're all intertwined. And the day we realize this, I think we also know that the challenges and problems are kind of also intertwined and they can kind of impact each other. And I know that you often talk about energetics, of business, but what does that really mean, and what are some, for example, energetic blocks that keep women entrepreneurs from growing? Because definitely they are intertwined, but then, like I said, there could be something which is holding them back as well. So, what could that
Mhm.
be?
So, from an energetic perspective, your business is both a manifestation and a co creation, right? So, by that, I mean, for example, you do branding, okay? You have a skill that is both creative, but also there's an analytical aspect to it because you have to look at someone's brand and understand how it works and
Yes.
what message they're trying to convey. So, the manifestation, your business as a manifestation is I have these skills and I want to make them into something that I can then sell. And so
Mm.
your business idea is born, and that's the manifestation. It then becomes a co creation because you are working with your business to create an outcome for yourself, earn money, gain a reputation, be good at what you do, and also create a good outcome for your clients.
Mm.
Now, when you're manifesting anything, the invitation you are being issued from God or the universe, however you want to say it, is are you ready to face your limitations that are imposed on you or you have imposed on yourself? So, an obvious one, because we're both of Asian Indian extraction, would be cultural limitations, you know. So, women's roles and gender roles is a limitation that a lot of people from the Asian subcontinent would experience.
Mhm.
Then you'll have familial, so family limitations. You know, some families have very traditional views about women, some families are the opposite of that. But if you have families where I grew up in a family where professional careers is what's respected. So becoming a spiritual life coach was not just challenging for me, it was challenging for my family as well, right? So it's about overcoming those expectations. And sometimes, and this is something I see a lot with women founders, is we try to stay in a box that pleases everybody. It will please our parents, please our siblings, please our friends, because they all see us in another way. But because we are trying to grow through our business, we're trying to step out of the box. And there's this seesaw constantly of how do I step out but keep everyone happy? How do I
Mm.
step out? That's like a really common block. Another block is this one I actually quite love, which is where we are getting in our own way, where we know we have the capacity to be super successful. We've got a brilliant idea. It's really, you can feel the success of it. You can feel it's going to be really good, but you get in your own way with your own thinking, right? You don't do the foundational work, the practical foundational work, like making sure you have a good accountant or bookkeeper, making sure that your funnels are set up correctly or you have a good CRM. Those things can really sabotage you, but they're subtle. They're not always really obvious. And then another one will be, and this is a really common one, this is fear of visibility. Because when you step out of your box and you say, I am who I am, and I know you may not like it to your friends, family, whoever, but this is who I am, it can feel quite lonely. That's when you have to really dig deep into your resilience and your belief in your idea, and also lean into your higher self and go, please send me the reassurance I need that it will all be okay. Because when you choose to put your head above that parapet, choose to be visible, you can feel vulnerable. And of course, as people, we avoid vulnerability
Mm.
because our nervous system thinks we're in the fight, flight, freeze or fawn stage,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So the other thing we have to balance out in all of this is our nervous system, right? So that all of us, our head, our body, our nervous system, we're all moving in the right direction. Your nervous system is always going to look for what's going to keep me safe and
Mhm.
what's going to stop me from getting hurt or killed. So it's a
Absolutely.
combination of those things that I see quite frequently.
Yes, I kind of agree with all these energetic blocks that you've mentioned. And I know that a lot of women entrepreneurs are struggling with it. And they kind of want things, they kind of are manifesting or trying to manifest. But I feel that they're also struggling with receiving,
Hmm.
which means they feel that, whether it's related to money or support or opportunities. So, according to you, what does abundance truly mean? And do you think women can start, opening themselves to receiving more? Because as much as there are energetic blocks, there are some women who are, they probably don't have so many blocks, but the biggest struggle is they're not open to receiving. They're throwing everything on their own. They don't want support. They feel they are the most strongest women. They can handle it on their own, kind of a thing. And so I feel that's also something that women are struggling.
Yeah, I mean, it's really interesting because I would have historically categorized myself as one of those women, actually, as someone who had to do everything themselves. And so, on a really practical, kind of very physical, earthly level, one question I ask clients quite a lot is it expedient for you to do everything? In other words, is it a good use of your time to do everything yourself? Because if, say, for example, you are an amazing creative brain and you can produce designs and ideas really easily that are phenomenal, and you are not good with Excel spreadsheets, why would you choose to spend hours on the Excel spreadsheet away from your zone of genius? So that's the first thing, right? So that's
Yes.
not an energetic block, that's a block of thinking, right?
Hmm.
That's believing that if I stay in control, nothing can go wrong. But actually, what you're doing is limiting your own success because there's only so many hours in the day and you have other demands on your time.
Yes.
But also, to me, abundance is an inside job. It's a circle of love, if you like, between you and the outside world. So you're pouring all this love into the outside world through your services, how you show up in the world, but you won't let it flow back to you. And so then you get depleted or you get exhausted. And that's when problems can occur in your business. Or if not in your business, there'll be disgruntled people around you. Your best employee suddenly leaves you. And you're like, what is going on? This is really, I don't understand. I'm giving all this to the world and things are going wrong. And so that leaves you depleted or disorientated or feeling lost and lonely. And so, because it's a circle of love, one of the ways you can start letting love in is through really small changes you make in your day. So, it could be it's a really lovely day and you've been working really hard, but go and step and sit in your garden for 5 minutes or on the veranda for 5 minutes and just allow yourself just to listen to birds song or listen to the wind in the leaves. It's such a small thing and it feels almost too small to make a difference. But when you choose to step away from your desk like that in a quite a deliberate way, what you're actually saying to yourself is, I deserve rest. Another way would be in the food you consume. If you choose to make small changes so that you move away from eating food that you know doesn't suit you, and you instead choose foods that really nourish you, give you energy, feel good, and it doesn't mean you have to cook it, someone else can cook it for you. That's also telling yourself, I deserve to have a healthy body, right? And And so in these very small daily moments, you can actually show yourself love and open yourself up to more. Because the minute you start showing yourself the love, it opens the door for other people to show you love. So an example would be, sometimes I'm sure, like a lot of people, you probably have a folder full of recipes you've seen on Instagram,
Yes.
right? Like everyone has those, I think, if they're interested in food. And we don't really do anything with them, right? They just sit in this folder. But supposing you just said once a week, I'm going to let myself choose one of those recipes, just once a week. It gives you something to look forward to that's a bit different, a bit original. You're not quite sure if this is going to work. And some of these
Yes.
recipes I've tried are not great, I have to be honest. But it's like, okay, I'm going to get rid of that one out of my folder, right? But in that, I've had some fun. We've ended up laughing about this is not a good dinner. Really sorry about that. And it's generated not just something new for me that will keep my mind interested, that will create some curiosity, but it's created some fun and conversation with the people in my life.
Mm.
Well, those things they're unlooked for bonuses. They're the things that make life living, right? It's those
Yeah.
interactions that are filled with laughter and love, truth.
Wow, it's interesting how you put it, because what we are saying here is you want to manifest, you want to be open to receiving, you want abundance to flow, but then you are constantly in hustle mode. Whereas if you just sit back and let the universe do its magic, and when we say sit back, it doesn't mean not do anything at all, but then not just, hustling for every single thing, every little detail.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can just kind of think to yourself that even you deserve rest and you are worthy of fun, you're worthy of joy, you are worthy of having free time. I feel a lot of women struggle to take out free time for themselves where they could probably not be doing anything. And just like how you
Yeah.
said, go sit in the garden, watch the trees, listen to the sound of birds, and, just give yourself rest that everything is going to be all right and it's going to work in my favor.
Yeah.
And
It's a really, this sitting back and doing nothing can be quite a triggering thought for people, actually, right?
yeah,
And there are different ways to sit back and do nothing. One is to go and have a sleep. You're
yes,
sitting back and doing nothing, but you're asleep, right? Another is sit in the garden. Another might be you might be good at painting. Go and
painting,
paint, go and sketch, read a book, go and bounce a ball against a wall. Learn to juggle if you wish to. Like
yeah,
it doesn't have to. Sitting back, what you're doing when you're sitting back, I really love this phrase, is you're allowing the universe to do what it needs to do to help you achieve instead of trying to control every single element. That's exhausting.
yeah,
And you're not living life then. You are just tunnel visioned in what you're doing. And
mm,
and this trust that the universe is going to bring you what you want, this is something you can build over time. You start with
mm,
a 5 minute sitting outdoors, and then you might do another day of a bit of painting or reading, and another day of having a nap in the middle of the afternoon. And yet somehow the client call comes, or
yes,
somehow I'm applying for an art grant at the moment. So just to give you an example,
okay,
right? I'm an amateur artist and I'm applying for this grant. And the person I hoped would give me a letter of recommendation unfortunately cannot. She's had a bereavement and she's busy with her family, which is fine. So, oh my God, who do I write to? So I wrote to three people. One said no. The other, and I basically took the attitude, if I'm not meant to be on this grant, if I'm not supposed to apply, okay, I'm just going to sit back. All I can do is my bit, which is send out the
yes,
request, and I'm going to sit back. And yesterday night, I said to a friend of mine, she said, "You're very calm about this." And I was like, well, if I'm meant to do it, it will show up. And
yes,
if I'm not meant to do it, it's okay. That means there's something else that's going to happen that either needs my attention or it's going to be something even better.
better,
So either way, it will be okay. Right.
yeah,
This morning, I got the most phenomenal recommendation letter. And I was like, there it is. Okay. And then the third person has said to me, I'm going to send it to you. You will have your letter probably by tomorrow. I was like, great. So I'm going to have 2 letters of recommendation. So it means now I can finish the application and get ready to submit it on time. You see what I
That
mean?
is awesome. Yeah, congratulations for that.
It's like literally, whereas historically, before I learned to trust by sitting back, things still come to me. I would have worried, I would have fretted, I would have been like, oh my God, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't do any of that now. I'm just like, okay, let's see what happens.
I want you to share, something where if somebody is going to start connecting with their higher self today,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
so what's the one simple practice they can begin with? And, that could probably even help them to transform their business and life.
So I will say on my website, I'll give you the details for that. There is a free resource that you can listen to a recording of connecting to your higher self. But supposing you didn't have time to go to my website, the thing I would say is I would do some deep breathing, put my hand on my chest, over my heart, and I would just say to my higher self, please connect with me. And then I would ask for a consistent sign that they have connected with you. So it could be a physical touch, it could be a piece of music, it could be a smell, it could be something, a word you see over and over again. So for me, one thing I asked for a song. I only listen to the radio really in the car when I'm driving. So I said, I want a song that tells me every day that you're with me. And literally every time I got in my car, I heard Clean Bandit's Symphony. And
Hmm.
I was like, oh, this is interesting. One of my clients recently, who's been really struggling to trust her connection, I said to her, okay, ask your higher self for a sign. And the sign she's been getting is her higher self's name has been showing up everywhere. The name is not like, it's not a common name. And it's just, she keeps seeing it everywhere. And she's like, and she keeps sending me photos going, is this proof? Is this, I'm like, yes, this is, you asked for the name, you're seeing it everywhere. And that's proof, right? So it can be in lots of different ways that they show up, but you can say, I want to see a blue butterfly every time you're near me. Or I want to see, and the blue butterfly might be a real butterfly. It might be an image of a butterfly. It might be a song about a butterfly.
Hmm.
It could be an emoji, but they'll find a way to send you it. That's just start off with some trust building. That's how I do.
That is beautiful, and I think that it's very simple to do, but it's something which can definitely create an impact, and and we can slowly and gradually build up on it. And we're almost at the end of the interview because we are keeping track of the time here. But I think we do have time for a quick rapid fire
Okay,
round. So Nana, let's go ahead with
go
that.
for it.
Yeah. Okay. So intuition or logic,
Intuition.
manifestation or action.
I'm gonna say aligned action.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. One word that describes abundance. Beautiful. A book that changed your life.
Louise Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life.
I love it, by the way. I think I've read it too. One message your higher self would want every woman listening to hear today.
You are loved and you are infinitely more powerful than you believe yourself to be.
I love it. Thank you. So we're just going to close, but if you could leave every woman entrepreneur listening today with one message about trusting herself and building a life of abundance, what would your message be for them?
My message would be something along the lines of what you desire is yours to have. Be consistent in your actions and be constant in your belief that it's yours to have.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sunayana, for this beautiful and amazing conversation. Just before we leave, where is it that people can connect with you and learn more about your work?
So I actually have a book that I wrote and published in 2024. It's here, Energetics Every Day Your Way. It's got some really, it's basically a how to work with your energetics. and it has some QR codes in it that you just scan, and it takes you to some specific recordings that are not generally available. You can only get them through the book. And it covers health, wealth, and different areas of your life. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram as at Energetics Every Day as well. And I have a website which I'll give you.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing this. And thank you so much for joining us also here today. And with that, we come to an end to our today's episode on bite-sized brands with Sunayana Clark. I think for all of you who are tuning in and who stayed till the end, do check out her work, go to her website and check out the book. I'm sure it's going to be of great help to you. And if nothing, start that one little action which she's told, hand on heart, and give a little faith, have a little faith in yourself, and try to connect with your inner self, with your higher self. And Sunana, that's it. That's all we have time for
Thank
today.
you.
It was
Yeah.
amazing to have you here. And we will come back again with another amazing, amazing guest. Until then, this is Kusha signing off. Bye for now.